I went to an Owen Cook event in Orlando the week of 4/12, 4/13, 2025. I started out with this guy Seth talking, and he ran the event for most of the time there, but Owen did speak from like 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. up until like 1 a.m. So he went for like 4 hours straight. Seth was there from like 3 o'clock right when I got there. He was probably there before, obviously. Just running the event, having us get up every 10 or 20 minutes, do an activity, talking about something. You know, it was fantastic. I don't want to give away too much because obviously you got to go to the event if you want to get the full thing here. A big part of what they were talking about is the marketplace. So the marketplace is the world that we're living in, everything here. We are a child of God, right? And you know, and God knows that you have value, all right? And we have all agreed that we have value, but sometimes others don't treat us that way. But you know when you're doing your best, and God knows when you're doing your best. You know your worth, and God knows your worth. You're a child of God, but the marketplace does not respect that. So you need to understand that we're in a marketplace. If you don't understand that we're in a marketplace, then your mindset's gonna be all messed up because you're gonna be thinking, oh, this person should treat me this way in this situation. I did this, I should get this now. And that's not how the world works. A lot of times, as Owen talked about in other videos, we become vegetables, right? We're boring, we're good for the person, but we're boring. They want potato chips, they want the Hershey bar, they don't want what's good for them. So Owen was talking about the big theme I got from this free event was to optimize for swag. Swag's free. You have swag right now. Swag is your aura, your confidence, your natural energy that you bring to the environment. They said, be the outlier. You don't want to be the person in the group that is just group thinking, okay? So don't be afraid to be the outlier. We all say that, but then what do we all do? We look to see who we can replicate and how we can do that better, right? You look at other people's content and it's like, oh, how can I do that? You look at another person's song and think, oh, how can I do that? Screw that. Be one out of one. It'll increase your value arbitrage. This goes into dating as well, like he was talking about. If you view yourself like you're pretty good, you're this or that, you're 7, you deserve a 7 or whatever, then you get what you deserve. But if you think of yourself like 1 out of 1, I am unique, then you will attract that, not only in romance, but in your business partnerships, in how people speak to you. So be the outlier. To be the outlier, you have to take massive, excessive amounts of effort, because to just, if you're an adult watching this, to just go to your day job, work, come home, watch content, yeah, it can take it out of you, but anyone can do it. And if anyone can do it, then there's nothing that special about it. Tai Lopez said something that really stuck with me. He said, the wealthy aren't just wealthy because randomness, okay? They solve the problem. The more valuable problem you can solve, or the more people's problems you can solve, the more money that you will make. The more, think of it in terms of that. If you can solve people's problems, most people are looking for someone in their group that doesn't question themselves, that has that inner confidence, that inner courage to step out and to be the outlier. This also tied into, they talked about having a mastermind group, so it's important to who you relate yourself around. It's kind of like Napoleon Hill. He talks about the mastermind group in Think and Grow Rich. Oftentimes Napoleon Hill would go inside of his mind and kind of consult with certain people. I believe it was like Abraham Lincoln and other people. But for me, I have, there's Owen Cook, Julian Blanc, there's, Cliff Knuckle, big evangelist. That I like his approach and how he's respectful with people and also super informational, and he'll ask questions like Jesus did. Obviously, Jesus is in that mastermind group. You know, David Wood, or like Rooflawn, a YouTuber that I watch. Tai Lopez, different people that I respect their opinion, and not just respect their opinion, but I go, okay, I can see aspects of what they're doing, and I want that to be in my life. I drew this picture here. I said, I'm in a mental prison of my own making. Owen often talks about the golden prison. I'm not even in a golden prison, and most of you watching this video aren't either. Our prisons are rusted gray cockroaches in our pillows, okay? And yet we have settled. Like Owen and Seth and everyone was saying, we're optimizing as men to be providers and protectors, yet we're not even very good providers and protectors. We're optimizing to be, provide resources, but we're broke, right? We can't even do it for ourselves. And protectors, you don't even have the time to focus on your health. That's my problem, because me, I can scrap if I need to, but am I really the best protector that I can be if I'm spending 8 hours a day in an office working for somebody else's dream? No, I'm providing, protecting for that person. So don't be delusional just because you got it a little bit better than you did a few years ago, or a little bit better than this person or that person. Doesn't mean that you should stop there. The world's gonna try to go, that's good enough now, right, Johnny? And you're gonna go, absolutely not. I have to help my children not go through what I went through. And not only that, but as the body of Christ, when you start to realize this, is that slavery never really went away. A lot of people like to look at the Bible as this crazy thing of slavery. First of all, people used to, the first form of slavery as I know it, when they talked about people would be slaves to like buy a land and to have food to eat and stuff like that when you were poor. What do we do now when we want to pay our rent and when we want to get groceries? We go to work. We work 40 hours a week. We get a little place to rent and a little food to eat. We're still the slaves in the same way that it used to be originally. And then somewhere down the line, history turned slavery into something dramatically evil, and we can get in that conversation something different, but you're still in the slavery mindset. You all know the salary slave. You've heard that before, right? You guys can't deny that. Now, I'm not trying to say, oh, you are and I'm not. I'm saying we are all in the same box. We need to be honest with each other and realize what to do here. This creates imposter syndrome, so that when we try to start striving for what we want to do, we have imposter syndrome. Even if we do it, we're like, it was just luck or whatever. No, create the winner effect. Give yourself the pat on the back. You have to get in that positive winner effect loop with yourself. Talked about the Headspace app. A lot of these people, this one guy I was talking to at the event, shout out, put your Instagram up if I can find it. He was really well grounded. This guy was really well spoken. I checked out his content. His content's really good, so shout out for your content. He does content for other people and like recommendations and marketing. And what he said is he would do this action, this action, this action, but what helped him was meditation. So the Headspace app, I used to do that actually. This is a reminder for myself, I need to start meditating. Owen will do it with his pranic breathing, where you say you're getting a little anxious, right? And you sit here and you go, okay, I'm gonna breathe in for 6 or 7 seconds. I like doing 7 because I'm not doing the 666 number, right? You breathe in for 7 or 8 seconds and you feel everything that you're not liking, and then you hold that breath for 7 or 8 seconds and you let it ruminate, you let it feel, you let it actually feel, and then you let it out. And I like to envision Jesus just ripping it out, because the Bible says to cast your anxieties and everything to Jesus. He's the only one that can handle it. So, and we are in a spiritual realm. Instead of envisioning this stupid purple energy like most people do when they meditate, why don't you envision Jesus and your guardian angels, like healing you spiritually? Because that's real too. If we're going to get loopy with it, let's at least stick to what we have truthfully. And the Bible talks about this stuff spiritually, so we can be comfortable in knowing that there are heavens and that there are stuff, that there are angels, that there are demons in this realm. But if you listen to the word of God, then you can stray away as much as you can from evil. Remember, read Job, you can't stay away from it. And that's what Owen's talking about here. The world is going to cast its stones at you. It's going to test you, okay? As he was talking about many times, this fake deity, okay? He really brought this up, and he said, during the talk, he goes, this is the most important part of the talk, and some of you are going to get it, and some of you aren't. And he goes, there's this private deity, and it tempts us to do things, or like whatever he was saying. That I think what he was talking about was that voice in our head that's not us, that sounds like us, that baits us, that I've been talking about in other videos that Blake Healy mentions in The Veil, that fake deity. It's the enemy. It's the devil, man. The devil sometimes will come after you himself, but if not, he'll send many of his agents. They've been here for thousands of years. We have to ignore the fake deity, the false deity. The real God, okay, is Jesus Christ, obviously, but the real God, when we're talking analogous and metaphorical in this moment, is this present moment. Are you enjoying what you're doing right now? Right now, I'm in flow mode. Right now, I'm feeling good about the content that I'm making, about what I'm doing. So that is an example of how you can access different states of your mind. Some people can't even get into that state of mind. Me, I have my limit right now because we all have our limits. But that's what Owen's talking about. We hit our limits and then we stay at our limits. So try to focus, see how long you can extend that focus for, and test yourself in that area where a lot of times you might just go, you know what? I do things this way. This is how I'm comfortable doing it. And that's it. No, don't listen to that voice in your head. Ask yourself, wait, how am I actively creating my life? What is the activities that I'm doing? Am I just drifting along, like outwitting the devil? Am I getting distracted by EDFG over here when I should be hammering A, B, and C? You know? And if you ask God to guide your steps, if you pray, the devil does not want you to pray. This is why I need Owen to connect these last dots, that it's not weak to ask God for the prayer, but actually strength. Because the devil doesn't want you to acknowledge the Heavenly Father. He does not want you. That is the last thing that he wants you to do. Because as soon as you do that, it's game over for him. So like for me, I finally understood, okay, I need to hammer my business goals. Hammer, hammer, hammer them hard. If I'm not, then what am I even doing? Because if you want to come home and relax, yeah, that might be helping you for the time being. Maybe you take 10, 20 minutes to relax, but realize what you're building towards and how in 5 or 10 years, you can actually have yourself set up for something that you actually want. Have to be aware of it. Like with my music, I constantly have to write. Now I'm on a pace where it'd be weird if I didn't come out with 10 or 20 songs a year, you know? And it's just a normal pace for me. And if I eventually go down on that, it'll be because I'm putting my energy elsewhere and I'm choosing to do that, not because I drifted into doing that, okay? And on that same note, if you want to switch on something just because you have been doing it before, like music or whatever, if you want to stop that, not saying that you should, because sometimes the enemy will say, oh, you've never succeeded, quit now. Right, keep going. I suck at music, okay? Now I'm like, I have to check myself on how good I feel, like, whoa, that's me right there? But also, if your gut's telling you I need to switch lanes, and your ego's trying to hold on to this like misweighing bias, as Ty Lopez says, where it's like, and even Owen talks about it, where you've held this identity for so long, right? This anxious identity, this depressed person, listen to the angry music, that you're afraid if you let go of it, like NF says, if I wasn't broke, who would I be? Who would I be? You identify with the struggle too much. So you need to realize that the struggle has just been an abusive friend. It's an abusive relationship. And a lot of times with like abusive relationships, it's hard to leave. All right. Oh yeah, they went over this too. They said, you want to satisfy your clients every time. So like you guys watching this video, I want to satisfy my clients. You guys are watching this video. I don't want the title to lead into you not liking what the video was because it wasn't the title, or me getting lazy halfway through and then you not liking it, or just in general, you know, you got to like what I'm putting out, because why else am I doing it? You know, for vanity. If you satisfy your clients, then you guys are going to respect what I do and come back. So you got to care. But take it past the products, like a video or the songs. Your interactions with people. Satisfy the people that you have interactions with. Actually make yourself fun to have a conversation with. Don't just put it on them. Don't be, hey, what's up? No, not much, man. Add some value to the conversation, by God, you know? Be as free associative as possible. No stress of an illusion of what might happen. That's just the enemy saying, What if you could do this better? Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Jesus says, can you add 1 inch to your life by worrying? Just connect to the reality. You have to connect with real life. Like right there. I could have just autopiloted and walked forward, but I realized the light's facing this way. I'm paying attention to my environment. Now, whether or not you guys see me better, doesn't matter. It's my awareness in the moment that matters, because that is going to pay off in the future, later, when I need it, when I'm not slacking off, because I'm able to access that muscle that wasn't there before. And the reason why it wasn't there is because, like in Outwitting the Devil, we slowly, ever so slowly, get drifted. And then we aren't able to free associate because we're so rigid. We're so in line that we're rutted in the path. So to get unrutted from the path, you're gonna have to climb out real quick, and you're gonna get dirty, you're gonna get scraped, you're gonna get bruised, it's gonna be uncomfortable, but once you get out, you can feel the air, you can see everything around you clearly. And another thing that Owen says in his videos, when you're ant to ant level with someone, you realize when you step on them, right? You realize when your opinion that you say is like, oh, my bad, bro, my bad. But when you raise your self-esteem so much that now you're so up here that you're a human compared to an ant. I'm talking self-esteem levels, not worth levels. They're still worth the same. We're all children of God. But their frame is an ant when it comes to self-esteem. Very fragile, very easily squashable. Now yours is raised to what it's supposed to be, a human. You're going to step on them by accident. You're not even going to see them. You're going to just be walking along your way or along the path, and you're going to step on them. And when that happens, you have to realize that's why it happened. You offended them in some way, shape, or form, whether it was your fault or not. So just realize, don't take it personally. And just like Jesus Christ says, you're not going to be greater than the master. If the master of the household was called Beelzebub, how much worse will the servants of the household be called? So it takes ears to hear to get to what I'm saying on that one, to connect to what I'm saying here. But as you start raising your consciousness, and especially as you start doing that in center focus to Christ and his teachings and the truth of this reality, not just pumping up your ego and puffing yourself up. I'm talking about the truth of this reality. Okay? Because I know we're talking about Owen Cook here and his event, but the reason why I went there is because I feel like what he talks about, the derping out and stuff like that, all this stuff that I'm talking about with the self-esteem and the stepping on ants is spiritual. And I think he knows it too. He wears that cross. He talks about him being Christian. I think he's just missing the key point where he may not believe that Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are historical narrative accounts. I think that he maybe thinks that they're like analogous stories that paint a metaphorical story that means something. Owen, if you're watching this, some of the Bible is. Hebrewic poetry, like Genesis, for example, or other parts, may be poetic. But Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are historical narrative, and you can tell by even secular historians like Platius or something like that. Yeah, there's plenty of them. Secular historians have confirmed many things about Jesus' life, more than just his teachings, but his death and resurrection, and the superstition, as people call it, which is the resurrection. But to get back to what we're talking about here, your core strengths is what's going to be valuable to people. Don't just do transactional stuff. Focus on what can I add that's real, that I feel, that they're going to appreciate that I'm given because of how much I feel it. They're going to go, wow, I don't want to not receive this because he's given so much that I love it. You know, and that's how I got attracted to Owen's content, because I was just listening to him and the way his voice was just booming. I didn't even see him. I was just like, that guy. Optimize for the current reality that you're in. So don't optimize for a reality that doesn't exist. This is a big part. A big part. Because look, we all do this. Where we have our own conceptions of how reality works, right? Or how like people like us or the truth. Okay, you may think someone thinks this about you, but do they actually think that about you? You may think this plan is going to do that, but what did this plan actually do? And did you actually do the plan that you said you were going to do? You need to optimize, we need to optimize for the reality at hand. And the reality at hand, which is why I love Jesus, is because that is the reality at hand. This isn't some nice spiritual story, okay? This is the reality that we're optimizing for at hand is that not everything is as it seems. We're in a spiritual battle, so when those weird things happen to you, just realize that is the spiritual veil trying to take your soul by offering you the world in different ways and shapes and flavors. And so they're going to try and get you, whether it's through pity and outwitting the devil will first try to get you through failures. But if he can't get you through failures and you get past that, because you can turn failures into equivalent seeds of success, and then you become successful, he will turn that success into temptations of greed and lust and avarice and stuff like that. Now, after that, you can go back down and get even worse. But most of us stay stuck in the bottom portion, so we don't even know what I'm talking about when it comes to the temptations of all avarice, which is like super greed, like you love money, you know, because we're like, I just need enough money to breathe. Well, of course, because that's effective enough on you. Now, I'm explaining step 45. We're still at step 3. But it's important to know step 45, because when you break through step 3, you're going to fast forward. Once you get past step 3, it's easy. Okay, I can feel it moving forward as you start to break the understanding that not every doubtful thought or stupid thought is you, that it's the enemy. You can combat it with the words of Christ and God and say, get away from me. But it does take some time because we are weak. So we have to keep reminding ourselves of the real God, Jesus Christ, who defeated Satan. And the false deity, like Owen talks about, will try to tempt you in every way, shape, and form. The false deity will try to get you not to go out and socialize and meet the wife of your dreams, the business partner that could change everything. That's why Owen talks about getting out there and doing it. Indecision is the enemy of execution. Or what was it? It was complexity is the enemy of execution. Don't be so complex. Keep it simple, stupid. And on that note, I'm going to leave it here. Thank you guys for watching. See y'all in the next video. Peace.